What's up, everybody? I'm back. It's Tiffany O with the Tiff Talk Show. And you know what? I had to do it. I told y'all I was going to do it. I had to do it again. I had to bring Sugar B back. Sugar B, welcome on back.
Thank you.
Just, thank you.
No, thank you.
Did you have a good time at Heart to Heart?
Oh, man, it was amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. Anybody who said otherwise, shame on you. We're
Right.
praying for you. We're praying for you. But this is the Mixed Nuts edition of the Tiff Talk Show. We going to do a cool little recap on the Heart to Heart.
Yeah.
And just get into some things.
Yes.
Because it was a good look.
It was. If you were not there,
right.
Part 2, do whatever you can to be there.
Yeah, part 2, do whatever you can to be there, and we're gonna open it up more because I had initially said it was for couples, and then I said it was singles and couples because some of my single friends kind of got on me, but I guess I didn't put it out there enough for the single people to
want to come.
Yeah, to really get there. They wanted to come. They're like, oh, Tiff, I didn't know single people were there, that sort of thing. So we want to love on y'all too. We want to get heart to heart with our single people too. So originally, when we was talking heart to heart, we got to talking about taking some trips on the plane and the turbulence and what you packing. I remember somebody made a comment about don't take the same luggage on the plane, and I in turn was like, you can take the same luggage, just pack different clothes, pack something different in there. But it was so much we didn't talk about.
So much that we didn't. We didn't, and then we had like off-site conversations.
Right.
I mean, if we were to do a remix of the show, like when we stopped, or when you see us stop taping, conversations did not stop.
They did not.
I mean,
they did not.
With so many people in the room, I mean, we hit on like some amazing things. I think one of the ones for me that we touched on that I always talk about is making sure that when we're going into relationships, we have realistic goals.
Right.
It's very difficult to find love and keep love if what you're asking them to do is something based on a fairy tale or fictitious or things that you've seen on TV.
Right.
And if you're not honest with yourself and saying, you know what, I don't even know what love is.
Right, yeah.
I don't know what it looks like. If you don't know what it looks like or have never seen it, then you will destroy every relationship looking for fairy tale. Fairy tale is okay, right, in conversation. You can make me into your fairy tale mate. Don't compare me to what you've seen.
That's okay. I get that. But let me challenge you on something with that. I like where you went with that. There are a lot of people, and I want to use guys as an example, who a female may come with a certain date idea, and he'll say, man, niggas ain't out here doing that. You watching too many movies. But those things are actually happening out here in some relationships. Now, that may not be what he's into.
So I'm two ways.
Okay.
You have to be willing to open up and learn.
Uh-huh.
That's okay. And so I'll give you an example. With me, with one of the women who I was with, she loved to sit on the couch, and I thought that I was like, man, that is so TV-ish for me to come home from work and put my arm around you and we just watch TV and this. I'm like, man, that's some shit you didn't see, like Hallmark Channel. But it's feasible. I can put my bag down.
So going back to you being realistic, right?
That's feasible.
Right.
That's feasible for me to honor you and want to change. I'm not saying that don't step outside the box.
Right.
If she does have a date idea, like, I always thought that, I was like, man, a picnic in the living room is crazy. It's really not.
It's not.
It's very romantic. It's very different. So you got to open up yourself
to that. And
it's
cheap.
But what I'm talking about is what are you holding him or her to as far as how they love you? Mm-hmm. What are you not my actions in love, but what are you comparing my love to, right?
Oh, okay.
So if you're comparing my love to your fairy tale, I'm not there yet. And you don't even know what love is. So what you're making love into is something that is unrealistic. So you say love is you coming in the house and kissing me and whatever. That's an action in it, yes.
Okay.
But that can't be what you're basing our relationship on.
Okay.
Right? So you can't make sure that what your expectation of them, be willing to teach,
Okay.
be willing to learn,
Okay.
and then make sure that what we're doing is realistic and we can move up to those things.
Okay.
I think that's where sometimes for me especially, I always talk from an African American women perspective, and
Okay.
I think for us, we have, I think for us, we have not, really 90% of us have not seen love. we just have not. We just haven't seen it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Because I have some friends that may be challenged with exactly that in their relationship right now. Help us out. Help us out. They want their desire in their relationship. They have a request for intimacy, conversation, just more of an emotional connection. They don't feel connected anymore. They're suggesting small actions to get there.
Okay.
The other person is maybe stating, that's not me. Now, how, in terms of love, do, from your perspective, how do you coach someone into giving you what you really need and it's realistic to you?
Right. And so one, you can't, what we normally do when we want something out of anything is we're very demanding.
Okay.
We approach it without any understanding, because I've been wanting this. So one, how long have you been holding back that that's something that you desire? You can't 2 years later. You can, but you have to figure out a way to do it if it's 2 years later and now he or she has done nothing that you've ever wanted, and now you want to say, here's my ultimatum.
Okay.
I'm at my end point. We've never had a conversation for your beginning point.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
You've excused my behavior for the relationship.
Yeah.
So that's another thing in saying that we have to be open and honest with us as to what did I put out there to him.
Yeah.
Did I accept your behavior
Yeah.
because I was in love with love?
Right.
I was
Yeah.
in love with this relationship.
Yeah.
And now 3 years later, you are the man that I want.
Right.
Now I want you to fulfill these other things. You never had a conversation with him to say, here's what I want. Because, again, my biggest thing, especially if they're black women, when you look at the numbers, black women are they are the most single women out there.
Oh, yeah.
So when they go looking, or when they feel like they're getting someone, they do sacrifice a lot for a relationship. We have to be honest.
That's right.
They sacrifice a lot for a relationship, and a lot of times are unhappy because
and will remain unhappy
for the sake of
the
relationship.
Yeah.
Right? And then if they do, after they've been in it so long and they feel like he can't leave me, he won't leave me.
Yeah.
Well, 5 years later, now you're like, okay, he won't leave me. We're stable. You should have been training him.
Yeah.
Up to this point. Give him an opportunity to say if he will or won't. You don't know.
So now, let's just say for the sake of argument, that's where you at. That's where you are. I want this. This is what I want right now. And someone else made a very good point at the Heart to Heart. They said, well, as you grow in your relationship, you grow as a person, or at least you should. So in growing as a person, as to me not having an appetite for a particular something then 5 years ago, now I do have an appetite for that.
Right.
Is it not fair to put that on the table now and say, you know what, I know in the beginning we didn't start out going to the park, but I just think that it's something that I would love to, include in our relationship. In all fairness,
yeah, you can. But what I'm saying is that in those situations, we do grow in relationship. Where we fall at is when you grow in silence.
You don't say it when you.
You're not communicating to me that you're growing. You're growing alone. You're growing silently. You're making moves without me, right? So I'm feeling like you're okay.
Right.
I have no clue that my 2-year me is not satisfying the 5-year you because you never said
that's good.
I'm growing.
That's good.
I'm changing.
Yeah.
I'm moving. Things are adjusting.
So
for me.
that's an accountability part that that individual would
when
have
you
to
feel it. When you this is what I will tell women. When you feel it happening, this is what I would say. When you feel that change, hey, I know in the beginning I really didn't like whatever.
Right.
I am starting to like it. So what do you think? Let's have a conversation about why you don't. Why would you? Because normally they'll say you ain't used to like that. Who you been around that was eating that with you? That's like our shallow thought process. Because normally, if you are growing in silence, a lot of things that we change, we all have. We're creatures of habit.
Yeah.
Right. So normally, if you change, someone has introduced you to that change. It could be a friend. It could be you were at a business dinner.
You could be admiring something, even on social media or in the movies or whatever.
It could be anything that you've seen, but we're creatures of habit and small-minded, so we only see it from this perspective. So if you're changing, who helped you change like that? See, now I'm shut down to it because I'm like, how did you even?
Okay, but this is what I want to know at this point before we go to a break. I want to know, okay, now that I've grown, yes, I should have said something a while ago. Me thinking about you, I was scared, I was afraid, maybe I should have been, but I'm saying it now.
Right.
That
person should have their platform to tell you how you changing has made them feel. You should accept it. But then I'm always going to be the person who says, you two here, both of us, have to make adjustments.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get to.
If you're a new you, if I want this relationship, then I have to be able to fuss, explain, complain, but then get on the good foot and see what I can do to where I may not be able to meet you here, but let's see how I can.
Okay. That's what I wanted to get to, and we'll dive a little bit more into that. Y'all stay right there. We're back, y'all. I hope you didn't go anywhere. So if you were just with us a second ago, we were just kind of left off on what do you do when now I've grown, I realize this is what I want. I didn't tell you, when I probably should have, but boom, here we are. And I'm kind of on the fence of, you may be late in saying it, but boom, you said it. It may be 5 years too late, maybe 5 pounds too heavy for the person that's having to carry it. However, if I'm committed in this relationship and this is about us and our survival in this together, I'm willing to do, I don't want to say what's necessary, and I kind of don't even want to say what I can, because when I say what I can, I probably can do more than that.
Right.
But if you'll take me just saying, all right, I'll do this, knowing I can do more, then I'll go with just that.
Yeah.
So what is your perspective on, does that mean if the other person is pushing back on, okay, look, that ain't what I signed up for, it's a hard no.
Okay, so let me take some of my let me break my request down.
Okay.
Right. So here's my ultimate goal. Right. So inside of my ultimate goal, though, there's short-term goals that I need to break down in what I'm asking you to do. So if you're, hey, I want you to start whatever. That's my ultimate goal.
Okay. Inside
of that, there are specific things that have to change. Let's have a conversation around breaking it up. Not just getting to this ending, but let's start with what helps us get here.
Okay.
Now, who you're with. Here's my other thing about changing and growing. We all know who we're with, though, right? And we all know who we've accepted.
Okay.
A lot of times we have obliged and allowed them to be those people.
Uh-huh.
And so you do sometimes have to take a hard stance and say, also with you, with saying to them, hey, I've grown, here's what I want. Now you're giving them that. You have to give yourself also an ultimatum. What happens if they don't? What am I to do
Yeah.
if they don't?
Right.
So, and then you need to break that down.
Right.
Okay, so here's what I'm willing to give. Here's what I'm not willing to give.
All right.
I've even said to a lot of people that...
Should I...
Black
is it
people need
important that I know
counseling.
why you're not willing to give it?
Yeah. I want to know why. Because inside the why, we can break the why down. Right? So I was in counseling recently, and
how was that?
Oh, I love counseling. I go and say anything, right?
Kind of like you do here?
Yeah, I go and say anything. This is another part of counseling, but you go and I'm able to just say it and hear myself say it and then figure it out on my own. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing about counseling. But one of the things that I was talking to her about, I was reading online, she was like, oh my God, Court, you should do that all the time because of who you are. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to tell more people that. It's called the 5 whys. For every situation, break it down into 5 whys. Hey, I want you to start washing my car on Sundays. Why do you want me to start washing my car on Sundays? Because I think that that's what people do in a relationship. Well, why do you think that that's what they do in a relationship? And I give you 5 different whys, and then we start from there figuring it out. Because if we just always accept, so yes, it's important to know why you won't. If you're asking me to, let's say for instance, hey, I don't know what the issue would be, but it has to be something important. Hey, I would like for you to be more intimate with me. Okay. Well, why would you like for me to be more intimate?
Because I'm coming into, some feelings that I feel like intimacy would meet that need.
So why would intimacy meet that need?
Because I'm here till 10 o'clock at night by myself and, laying in the bed watching TV. You don't come home until the next day. Like, there's a lot of us that I miss intimately. Okay.
So why do you miss? You feel what I'm saying? So now I'm making you think about your answers to me.
As opposed to just being on the surface.
I'm digging deep into why is that important.
Okay.
Why is that a no?
Okay, you know what you asked, because even as you say that, you made me think, and I made that whole thing up, by the way, guys.
But as you say,
but she made me think. You really did make me think, as if that were coming from my husband. So that made a lot of sense, because I had to dig.
You have to tell me why. What is it based on that this is important and you've changed? You have to be able to explain to me why you're at the no. And then when you tell me your why, I can either stop there and then say, you know what, that's not it. Because if she explains to you and says, yeah, but you're not here and you're not whatever, and intimacy, so why would that?
Right. Because where did this start from?
And I'm digging into all of that with asking you to explain to me why. And if it's something that you just cannot change, you can't change it. Yeah. Right?
But what are things we can't change?
Oh.
Because I don't know. I believe that change is, something that you want to do for the person that makes you want to do it. Now,
I mean, if it's a hard cannot, for me,
okay.
Like for me,
there are some things that I probably don't want to. Now you can, but there are some things that you probably just don't want to.
I'm just not going to do some things in relationships. Okay, they're hard no's for me. Okay,
they're hard no's for me too.
Okay. I don't give a damn how many whys. There's some things that, based on who we are.
Give us an example of one.
Would you like for me to give you?
You know what? No. Well, I'll give you an example for me.
Okay, great, because
I'll give you an example for me. A hard no for me is going to be a third person in our bed.
Well, here's the thing. Threesomes are so overrated.
See, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I did one. It's a sad situation. When you're the one that's watching TV while everyone's while the party's going on, it's my turn. Tag me in.
So I mean, I'm not trying to make that to be our conversation, but since she did bring it up, is it because that particular experience was not, the party, or could it have been?
I think that we base them on TV, and inside of a real one, there's some tag me in moments where you get lost. So yeah, is it? Somebody gonna tell me when it's?
Well, see, for me, and the reason why I say
and
that,
I would never do it again. Like, I was young, but I just like, damn, tag me and no one wants to tell me.
Well, that could have been the reason why you didn't enjoy it, because you were young. No, it's just not your thing. Okay, well, for me,
that's a hard no.
I have friends from all walks of life, and I don't judge nobody on what they get into, especially if that's what floats your boat. The reason why I say I couldn't do it, because I'm too caught up in when I'm in a relationship. It's like I'm too territorial. Yeah. Like, that's me all day long. I don't want to watch nobody else get.
Because I'm coming in asking questions, especially if she's mine, and then you with them and we're in a threesome, and then you close your eyes, open them up.
You're too into it.
Hey, bro, back up.
Get up.
Give me a second.
But see,
you ain't never closed your eyes.
But see, that's the thing, and that's one of the things where I feel like, we told y'all this is gonna be the mixed nuts, but that's why I feel like that's something that I don't know if I could go down that road, because for those reasons I'm too territorial. Now, I do know people that they get out and they say, hey, we'll do it when we go out of town, because that individual doesn't live local with us, and that's cool. But you know what I say to that? That won't stop a person from thinking about them way overseas.
It doesn't. Well, and see, and then if you're not the person who introduced it into the relationship, if it wasn't something that you liked, you should maybe ask some whys. Because in there could be some
why. Yeah, that's true.
That will have you making some adjustments to where they won't need that. Because is there something missing where they feel like they need that, and they're afraid to tell you that they would like to try something new? So if it's a woman who's saying, let's try a threesome, this may be her way of introducing something more freak, because you just want to come in and lay on me like Celie and Danny Glover. Right. Well, see, here's a transition point. Okay, great.
Intimacy. I think it's so extremely important, but guess what? I'm one of few people. Not everybody feels like sex is that important in relationships. You'll be surprised how many people say we put too much emphasis on sex or good sex in relationships above other things. If I gave you my personal opinion on that, I would be considered very shallow, because.
But you have to. Here's the second thing. You may meet someone. If you're a person who is extremely sexual, and be willing to. Some women want to get with men or get with women, and whatever floats your boat. Sometimes you have to teach people how you are, because I may have been with a partner who didn't like stuff like that. Right. So good sex to you may not have been what good sex
is very
to
true.
The person that I got with before you.
I say that
so don't get irritated and just throw your hands up like, oh my God. No, if you ask me some questions, then I would say, well, my partner before you, they didn't like any of that.
Right.
It was very to the point and whatever, that's all they wanted.
Right.
We were together this long, that's what I'm used to. In relationship, you have to be willing to teach and learn and teach on all aspects of life.
But you got to be careful with that whole teaching thing. I feel like in sex, depending on the person, because you don't want nobody to feel like, who you been with, what kind of stuff you into.
Hey, listen, and if you ain't arguing,
she about to mix nuts.
And it's drink. It's dragonfly.
This is my concoction.
Wait, listen.
All right.
That's another thing. Like, know the woman you with has a past. Know the man you with has a past.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not there first.
You're not in. Unless
probably won't be their last either. But
Right.
that's another show.
That's a whole nother show. But you're not their first.
Yeah.
So whoever they were with, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it shouldn't.
This is something that I like. This is something that I enjoy in relation.
And stop asking people,
who you learned it from.
Or am I the best you ever had type stuff.
I don't even care. I may not be.
You should, and I don't think you should.
Listen
I don't
to
think
me.
you should. Just be the best that you could be.
Never
ask,
am
I
I
the army? Be the best you can be?
Yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, never. Why do I care if I'm the best that you ever had? If I'm not, teach me.
Right.
And then on top of that, if I'm not, you better act like I am.
Hey, you know what? I'll take a drink to that. And listen, if I'm not, teach me. I think that is, and being open to being taught.
Being open to being
taught. And don't be offended. Like, golly, don't you want your partner to enjoy you and you to enjoy them? So I never forget one of my friends. He said, women go wrong because we don't know how to say what it is we want. Rather, he said, the way to get a man to do what you'd like them to do is to basically kind of stroke their ego and say, you know what, baby, I like it when you do that thing like this. Now, because you want more of that, that's your way of saying, I rather that.
Right.
So you're basically stroking his ego.
Let me tell you another thing that where women go wrong, and so sometimes where you end up in a relationship where you're not sexually satisfied.
Oh Lord. Never be me.
It's pretending that it's good.
Yeah. You do that.
If you're pretending and putting up a front and making him feel like he's satisfying you, then he is walking away thinking that he is or she is satisfying you.
Right.
If it is not working, if we fit to lay in here and be intimate,
right.
we fit to lay in here and exchange energy, in this sexual, intense, intimate setting, I should be able to say things like, or show you that that's not what I want.
Right.
And
right.
if you're in a situation where you can't sexually, intimately say yes or no, you have to make some adjustments because that ain't what it's about.
Yeah.
Because that setting is so, it's so open to learn. That to me is the most open setting where I have to be able to teach and learn.
Right.
I have to be able to stop and say no. That it should be
because we're naked.
It should be no obstacles in me saying I like it or I don't. We shouldn't get upset.
Right.
You know, everything is off. Your makeup is off. Your wig is off.
Yeah. Mixed nuts.
Your wig off. Your hair braided to the back. You know, it's time. So I should be able to say yes or no if we're in this setting. Stop letting them think that they are satisfying you if they are not.
I agree with that.
Then when 7 years later you like, it was hard with me.
Oh no, those public arguments when everything come out, it's like, what? God. I mean, if
I was faking the whole time. I wasn't. Thank you. I wasn't faking. Every time I hollered, I was out of breath.
And that goes back.
Now, if you ain't make me put in no work, I apologize.
That's all good. Exactly.
I want to thank you for everything you did. Because when I was screaming.
But that's going back to being honest in relationships. And we need to go back to being honest. And that's across the board. Across the board. I don't like it. I don't like it when you do that. You know, you do way too much of that. Ease up on this. Give me more of that. You know, being honest about the intimacy in our relationship. Well, guys, that is our time. I would love to thank my guests, as always, the Deacon, Mixed Nuts, Bishop Butterscotch, Sugar B, all of those names. Just run them all together. For joining me again here on the Mixed Nuts version of TikTok. So, Sugar B, we'll see you around again, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. They love us together.
They do. Y'all, communicate. Communicate.
What's up, this Sugar Bee, and my tip for the day is going to be, just be honest in relationship, and especially it's all about communication. If you find or feel that you're growing or you're advancing, be honest with your partner and make sure that you don't grow in silence, and that you also don't live in the relationship with things that you can't change or you have no power over because it's too late and now it's a habit for that person. For example, if y'all been together 11 years and he's been working on cars in the front yard and it's 11 years later and you messing up my grass, you need to do something new, he probably gonna have an attitude about it, and he has a right to, because you've accepted that behavior for 11 years. So again, it's all about communication, and it has to be done as soon as you start feeling it, as soon as you start seeing it. Make sure that you speak it. That's it for me.